all ready to rock this mess with Blair Davenport and Carmella. Those skanks ain't getting their nasty caution hands on our titles.
That's what I want to hear. You know what else I heard? Everybody's looking over their shoulder, like Luna's gonna jump out from behind a corner and eat them up alive.
Girl, don't laugh them crazy Essos off. Crazy wench could pull some Midnight Rider bullshit and show up under a mask. It's not fiction, Genie.
It's whatever for right now, Jack. We gotta focus on the future endeavor. But you and Mimi, y'all already know the score. You see Luna, or anything that even looks like Luna, don't wait to see what's up. Just go ham on Avish. See y'all before the match.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, fans and friends, welcome back to the second half of tonight's RWL Rage in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Don Hickson here along with Christy Ogilvie and Myron Schimmelman. A terrific lineup, 5 great matches on tap for the second half this evening, including the main event involving Macho Man Randy Savage locking it up with the total package Lex Luger. That ain't all. We got a great lineup. The ladies, Rage Ladies tag titles are on the line. Les Femmes Fatales, Jet Williams and Mimi Emerson, defending the titles against Carmella and Blair Davenport of the Future Endeavor. How do you like them apples? Not just that, Rod the Bod Whitley facing Josef von Schmidt, and the Texas Hangmen are in action tonight, going up against Pretty Deadly. That's going to be interesting. Hangman Tex Lynch going to be at ringside with Killer and Psycho for that one.
And seriously quick, before the next match starts the second half, a quick update on what's ahead on the RWL YouTube channel. Thursday night, October 9th, happy birthday, John Lennon. October 9th is going to be a 2-hour special card as RWL Wrestling comes back to the Spectrum. Then, Saturday, October 11th, it's Snarl with Wally, Gianni, and Tex Lynch with more great pro wrestling action. So subscribe. Hit all notifications and your ringside seat will always be waiting. All right, boys, it's time to fire up the second half. And El Segundo Partai begins with newcomer Mark Coffey facing Ken Kennedy in Mr. Coffey's debut match.
Mr. Coffey. Where's Joe DiMaggio?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our next match is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle, making his RWL debut tonight, from Glasgow, Scotland, and weighing in at 235 pounds, please welcome Mark Coffey.
The newest competitor on the block here in RWL, Mark Coffey. Oh, Myron, what's the background on this gentleman? That's easy. He doesn't come alone. He's got a brother, Joe Coffey, not to be confused with Publicity Joe Coffey, the late NYPD detective, rest in peace. But yeah, Joe and Mark Coffey, they're new to the scene, and they'll probably be doing some tag team action in the future. But right now, it's a one-on-one with him and Ken Kennedy. It's gonna be good. Mark Coffey, he's an experienced guy. He's no slouch. He's got that NXT thing under his belt.
And his opponent joined by manager MJ Ferrantino from Green Bay, Wisconsin, weighing 237 pounds, Mr. Kennedy.
And here comes another fella who cannot be characterized as a slouch, Mr. Kennedy. Ken Kennedy, accompanied by James Ferrantino, the other MJF in pro wrestling. The whiz kid, the mathematician, the manager of the future. Or so he bills himself, but what a stable he has. It's more the size of a football team than a wrestling stable.
Dawn, he's lit up. His football team of stable is down a pair of first-string stars. With Patty Powers and Liberty Bell Danielle sidelined by Luna Vachon, Bro has been quietly fuming ever since. Won't speak to any of us on the broadcast team. Just released a public statement saying Ferrantino's taking care of all of their doctor bills and denouncing Luna as a danger to herself and others. He's flat out petitioned Colin O'Toole to have Luna straight up fired. He's too quiet, guys. He kinda reminds me of Michael Corleone in the worst possible ways.
Well, that is an interesting analogy, Christy, but I think we're about to hear from Mr. MJ Ferrantino right now. His body language says it all. He's not his usual chipper self.
Thanks to that wingnut Vachon, I'm looking after Paddy Powers and Danielle Heathcote, instead of them doing what they love. Well, I see now how it is, how you people play this game. Well, fair warning, people. Primetime Bobby Mills will be back from injury real soon. I suggest you ask him if me or mine should be screwed with. Now watch Ken Kennedy take this Coffey guy to school.
I'm no student of sociology, Don, but that sounded like a veiled threat. Whoa, MJ Ferrantino certainly has the resources to make stuff happen, as he indicated regarding primetime Bobby Mills. Well, here we go. The bell sounds. Ken Kennedy opens up with a series of shots and kicks, taking Mark Coffey down to the canvas. Mark Coffey laid out center ring as Ken Kennedy goes topside. Boom! Elbow right across the throat. Here's a quick cover, one. Just a one, says the referee, Willie Johnson. Keeping an eye on Ken Kennedy here. Here's a stomp to Mark Coffey. A double X handle across the back. Mark Coffey not offering a great deal of offense here in the early goings. Ken Kennedy firmly in control of things as he snaps on a heel hook stretch on Mark Coffey. MJ Ferrantino certainly sounding like he means business, and as I pointed out, he's got the resources behind him. He's got a roster the size of a football team, and apparently no salary cap either. A clothesline from Mark Coffey, who finally woke up here. Ken Kennedy catches an elbow to the top of the head. Ken Kennedy yanked halfway across the ring by his ankle, and Mark Coffey has certainly stepped things up here. Ken Kennedy on the canvas. Look at this, Mark Coffey displaying supreme confidence as this match progresses. Ken Kennedy locked up by Mark Coffey, hard whip to the ropes, and look at this, a beautiful tilt-a-whirl sort of slam right there from Mark Coffey. A very impressive move, a hard forearm across the face of Ken Kennedy. Kennedy has him up over the shoulder. Mark Coffey in trouble here, head first into the turnbuckle, and down into the seat sinks Mark Coffey. Ken Kennedy choking Mark Coffey blatantly, and now backing off as if to say, hey, I had 5 seconds. Mark Coffey rolls to the outside. Ken Kennedy over the top rope, cross body to Mark Coffey. Ken Kennedy turning it right back around here. MJ Ferrantino enjoying what he's seeing up to this point. Mark Coffey center ring, just recovering. Ken Kennedy rolls back inside the ring, a chop across the chest, and here we go. Mark Coffey and Mr. Kennedy trading shots back and forth here. A serious game of nerves and an extremely brutal physical challenge. Ken Kennedy settles the argument with a kick to the midsection and a double axe handle across the back of Mark Coffey. Ken Kennedy getting ready to go air again. Mark Coffey slowly standing to a position here. Boom! Whoa! Flying forearm. Here's the cover and a hook of the leg. 1, 2. But again, Mark Coffey getting the right shoulder up in time as Ken Kennedy begins to lose patience and decorum, stomping the hands and fingers of Mark Coffey. Ken Kennedy catches a kick to the head from Mark Coffey. Coffey locks him up, goes behind on him. Look at this. Beautifully executed one-arm slam, and whoa, a knee right to the head of Ken Kennedy. Mark Coffey has him up in a front crate and takes him up over the shoulder and hangs him up off the top rope. Misses with the knee. Mark Coffey made a mistake there. Coffey whipped to the ropes. Ken Kennedy ducks under. Ducks under a second time, and boom, a forearm right across the face of Mark Coffey, who appears to be momentarily stunned. Ken Kennedy drags him center ring, but he's still moving. There's a stomp to the shoulder from Mr. Kennedy. Mark Coffey, look at this, avoids the wheelbarrow move there, delivers a knee to the head of Ken Kennedy. Mark Coffey rounds him up into a bear hug. Mark Coffey already bleeding profusely. Ken Kennedy with a double ear clap and a jumping neckbreaker to Mark Coffey. Ken Kennedy indicating to the fans, well, wait a minute now. What's this? Someone else possibly coming down the ringside here. Ken Kennedy momentarily distracted. Mark Coffey tags him a shot across the back of the head. Rebounds off the ropes and tags Kennedy with an elbow. Here's another cover. 1, 2. Another near fall, but just a 1. Says referee Willie Johnson. Mark Coffey gets a hold of Ken Kennedy, escorts him to the far left corner, head first into the turnbuckle. Kennedy gathered up into a scoop slam as Mark Coffey sets himself up on the middle rope. Ken Kennedy stands up, and here we go. Whoa! Flying shoulder, dropping Mr. Kennedy center ring. And a snap of the leg. A pretty solid follow-up from Mark Coffey as Ken Kennedy rolls to the outside. Mark Coffey with a couple of shots right away. Referee already up to 2 here. Ken Kennedy slams Mark Coffey's head into the lip of the apron. Follows that up with a stomp to the back of the head. Ken Kennedy gets a hold of Mark Coffey. Has him up and again slams his head into the lip of the apron, allowing gravity to do all the work. A set of hard rights to left and an uppercut takes Mark Coffey down to the floor. Ken Kennedy playing it up to the fans here in Allentown. Ken Kennedy finally rolls Mark Coffey back inside the ring. Ken Kennedy takes himself up to the top turnbuckle one more time. Big time crossbody. Here's a cover, a pin, a hook of the leg, everything. 1, 2, 3. That is going to do it. Ken Kennedy defeats Mark Coffey by pinfall.
Here's the time, 6 minutes and 34 seconds. And your winner, Mr. Kennedy.
All right, there you have it. Ken Kennedy gets the Duke over Mark Coffey. Ladies and gentlemen, a whole lot more RWL Rage when we continue right after the break.